Good morning, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo there. Cinco de Mayo. I think Tracker is really trying to join, but his microphone is not really working so much right now.
I'm here. I'm
He's
here.
here.
Sorry.
God.
Yeah, my for some reason my laptop decided to connect to the wrong Wi-Fi, like the one way on the other side of the house. So it was a
Okay.
connection, but I fixed it.
Very good. Well, happy Cinco de Mayo there.
Happy
You gonna
Cinco de
drink
Mayo
a
to you, Matt, and everybody
you gonna
else.
drink a cerveza today?
Yeah.
Nice. How about a
Actually, my favorite is
margarita?
I like the picture of margarita. Yeah,
Yeah, those are good. Salted, not salted.
I like it salted. In fact,
Yeah,
lately
same.
there's this new thing where sometimes they'll salt it with this extra spicy, salty stuff. I can't remember what the product is called, but it's like that dust that they put on the Takis. Uh,
Oh, the Takis. Yeah, the Fuego
Yes,
Takis.
Taki
Yeah.
lime and hot pepper.
Nice. There we go. Okay.
Well,
Well,
I'm excited. I raised a bunch of cash on Friday with all that, the market ripping up, expectation of a bounce back to support today to buy back in, and so here we
yeah, I
are.
think what we're seeing what we're seeing now is pretty expected. So, SPY, it basically nailed resistance of the 50-week moving average perfectly, and it's not really ready to get out of the cloud just yet. So, what we're seeing pre-market super expected, and I did warn about that on Friday that essentially it could come back down. And how far could it come back down? Well, I guess they could still send it back down towards this 540s if they wanted to. Maybe there might be some more scary narratives out there in the market, but I think it has potential to hold around current levels because when you go to the daily chart here, we can see that the 50-day moving average is right around 556. So maybe a little bit lower, but perhaps not all the way back to the 548 with that. Also, we can go to the QQQ, and we can see that it's still above the cloud, actually, right? Even pre-market, it's going to be opening up above the cloud so far, but it also got rejected at the 50-week moving average. So not a surprise we're seeing it sell off this morning. And the top of that cloud really sits right around maybe 481, 482. So we could see a little bit more down before up, but again, perfectly understandable for that to happen. And IWM also came up towards the 100-week moving average, but it actually closed above resistance. So if we zoom in here, we can really see that pre-market action is hovering right around major support. So perhaps it does not need to go too much lower. That's the 200-week moving average and the 50% fib. So this is around current price, 198.75, and everything is around 198.80. So I think we could be trying to stabilize around here this morning. But again, the week is still young. It still could wick through that level quite a bit, even down to the mid 190s if it wanted to. But I think we are seeing some sort of obvious rejection at resistance while trying to stabilize at a higher level. So we're just going to let this week do what it wants to do. Don't try to force it. And I think, yeah, raising cash on Friday was a good move because it was at resistance. Weekly resistance is usually a strong indicator that things probably won't break free the first try. And with Bitcoin, I just have a couple things pulled up here. One is the Bollinger Band, the 20-week moving average, and the 1.414. So we are seeing a little bit of a doji candle starting off the week right here, but we could come back down to retest higher time frame support with that 20-week, with that 1.414. So if it chose to go back down to the 91, 92,000 zone, that is okay because it's a breakout. It would be a back test of that zone for the continuation higher. So all things hit some kind of resistance last week, and now we are looking for support to hold.
Yeah, a lot of times when you see one of those God candles that crosses through a resistance, you can throw a Fibonacci retrace on it and look for it to come back to like the 50% or the 61.8. Just for example, and a lot of times you'll see it hit one of those other important levels. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Well, here I am. Yeah, thanks. So this is the VIX. This is the VIX 1-hour chart. Here's where we were on Friday. The VIX, came all the way down towards my greed zone. And what we do, we open here this morning pre-market. It's gapped up But look, it's right up here at the 1 hour moving average 75. We got some pivot points here. If the VIX wanted to like spike up at the open, maybe it could come up to this 25.11. And then once it starts to get back below the center weekly pivot here at 24.41, which is where it is right now, by the way, you could see the gap fill and then things get greedy again. So if you want a timing signal like intraday, you could keep a VIX chart handy. And I'd say the VIX, once it crosses through this 1 hour conversion line right here, you might start thinking about buying again. Uh, yeah, and then it gets greedy once it closes this gap. Prices should be starting to move higher than they were on Friday, generally speaking. Do you want me to do Tesla?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's track it.
Okay. Tesla here. I'm just looking for the same old thing. Let me pull this up on the 4-hour chart. I'm looking. Oh, this is a 4-hour chart. Looking for this ABC back up from this whole move, like 100% of the move to 214.27, back to the 48.54 all-time high, 382, 236, 618. So 319 is what I'm looking for next. Possibly the test back to 278.98, and then the wave C tops out here at 383.76. Now, sometimes the AB might turn into this might be the 1-2 I'm looking for 5 waves up, and once we actually get 319.03 in this pullback, I'll start tracking that. But for now, as far as short term, price and Tesla could come back to as deep as the monthly center pivot here at 263.88, or only as deep as this weekly S1 274.29. So I'd look for 274.29. Then if it goes deeper than that, 263.88. But in general, it should be heading for about 319 next.
Okay, yeah. I'm just looking at 280 to hold, and that's basically the 50-week moving average for me for Tesla. But I don't need to
Yeah,
show my chart because nothing really has changed. So you can talk about Bitcoin if you want.
Yeah, 280 jives right with 278.98. Bitcoin on Friday, I was thinking, it looked like, is this bull flag or bearish wedge up? I had this feeling it was kind of a bearish wedge up, and indeed it did come back to retest lower. You can see the buy order blocks start here between 93,000 and 92,000, and this 702. I think this kind of lines up with Matt's support level. This is where I think this is as deep as it might come back to this 91,542. So if we're lucky, you get a buy support test back here, that to opportunity to buy in. Otherwise, anywhere in this is not a bad place at all. Hey, how's XRP doing?
XRP is doing fine. It's
Yeah,
just
it's still
stuck.
right. The Bollinger Band is getting squeezy. Here it is on the weekly, right here. Let's see. And then Palantir earnings are today. Thank you, Kim. And AMD are tomorrow. Am I missing anything? Should we do requests, or is there something else we should do first?
I got requests. Coinbase and
Okay.
Mara, I got those on deck. Let's see here. Yeah, so Coinbase, all I'm really focused on Coinbase is this daily chart, and the daily cloud is kind of telling the story, right? It's a breakout above the 50-day moving average, got rejected by the bottom of the cloud, and now it's probably coming back down to maybe retest some daily support. And that daily conversion line is 195, and I think within the next couple of days, we will start to gravitate inside the cloud, which is a good development for the continuation higher. So this one is just an obvious move, right? Once it broke above the baseline, it just gravitated to the cloud. Now it's back testing a major trend reversal, really, right? This 50-day moving average has been a pretty big resistance and rejection zone in the past. and now it's spending a lot more time on top of it than it has ever before since it really started melting down back in December of last year, right? And this is a good development for Coinbase, but it takes time, right? It takes time to get a breakout. It takes time to get the back test completed. It takes time to go gravitate inside the cloud and go higher. So we're going to be looking at maybe I'll be looking around like 195, maybe 192, just that zone to hold. And then the next steps would be going up towards the top of the cloud in the future, around 225 or 227 in that zone. So Coinbase looks really, really good here, and I think it wants to go higher. And after a little bit of a consolidation. And Mara daily chart, same situation as Coin, right? We had a breakout above the 50-day moving average, which we haven't really seen in a very long time, since really back in December as well. And it has never even attempted to break above it once until it finally did. And it back tested it already. So it's ahead of the game already. See, Coinbase didn't really back test its 50-day moving average yet, but Mara did. So now we're seeing Mara continue its journey higher, and it's inside the cloud. The conversion line's there at 1383. So I think we have a nice little trend reversal here from Mara. So after this back test of the cloud, of the conversion line, perhaps tomorrow, then we could probably see price start to try to move up towards the 16s above. So Mara looks pretty good. Oh, and I see ARK Fund there as well, ARKK. And ARKK on the daily chart is struggling with the 200-day moving average. So I think the daily charts are just telling a good story on a lot of stuff. ARKK is just range bound between the 200-day and the 50-day. So 51.59 and maybe what's that, 49.79 down there. So it's just buying time, getting closer and closer to the daily cloud. When that kind of happens, then I think it can start to find some kind of stability and maybe make its way towards the top of the cloud in the future, maybe around 53.50. So range bound, looking good, looking for direction, maybe needs a back test or two down in the high 40s before going higher.
Very cool. I like it. Well, I've got Webull here. It's just really funny. I didn't even realize that Webull had a public offering, but I guess it did. Well, I guess it has for a while. Webull, its high point was April of last. No, wait, what is this? April of. This is a 1-hour chart. It hit high at April 14th, this last month, and has been consolidating all the way back down to 1332. And so let's look for an ABC retrace back towards its recent all-time high. That would be the 382,236,618. Actually, it looks like there's a sell order up here at the 70.2 fib. So I've pulled this up a little bit. So this is 3862 is the A wave up. And you can see the sell order blocks already stacked. This one's below the 11.4, but I would say 11.4 should be initial resistance. Once it can get above 2087, it'll struggle with 2895, but it should get through that and get to this 3862 with a test back to 2895. So here, I'll hold this still for you if you want to take a screenshot right there. And just watch each of these fib levels on the right-hand side as it goes up. So there you go. There's Webull. INOD. data. I don't know if I've ever done this one before. No. Go ahead, Matt. If you want to pick something, I'll sketch this up real quick.
I got Affirm right here that I was looking at, AFRM.
Oh, yeah.
So
how's Affirm doing?
Here we go with Affirm and Dash. I can do those. Affirm on the daily chart also is telling a good story, right? It broke above the 200-day moving average. It broke back above the 50-day and also the blue level of the GAN there. So now we are going down for a little back test of that zone. It could come back down all the way down to maybe the 49 zone before trying to break all of this cloud resistance here. So it's also doing a normal thing, right? Breaking out, maybe back testing levels down here, could stop around 51, maybe even down towards the 49.61 or even 49.02 in that zone. So yeah, it's another one of those breakout back tests of kind of trend. and a trend reversal, and we can see price maybe just try to stabilize in this zone here before gravitating sideways through the cloud. And once it's inside the cloud, then I think it'll have the opportunity to try to break this resistance above and then head towards the 54s. And DoorDash, this is breaking out, right? It broke out above a lot of things last week. And we kind of saw it when it started to break above this 50-day moving average. That was on Monday, right? Or even last Friday. Yeah, Monday of last week, it just broke out. Then it kind of back tested levels, just like we're seeing others do currently. And this one just broke out of the cloud and never really looked back. So this could come back down to these previous highs over here, maybe in March, probably around 199, maybe 200, maybe a little bit lower. But it does have potential to keep going higher now and higher for the daily chart. But it is approaching some of this resistance right over here. So I wouldn't be super bullish on it just yet because it already did a big breakout. So since it did a big breakout, it's going to be approaching some resistance around those 210s, 211s. So if it can't break out, it might even need to come back down and retest the cloud here before really trying to come up. So in general, I would just say it's range bound right now, and it already had a big move, right? Especially from the 200-day moving average, a big bounce up. So I would not be chasing at these levels. I would let price come back down. And personally, I think it'd be best to try to wait till maybe like 192 or a little bit lower to see if it could actually get there before trying to break out higher again.
Oh man, I really want to pull one of your fibs on DoorDash here. Let's see, from this
Do it.
bottom here to right there. Here. I've got one called TGM, the Great Mattsby. So here, let me just also push these left and right. All right, so from this high of 215.25 to this low 150.06, it recovered to pass the 786. So for this to move higher, it's got to prove that the 786 is support here at 201.30. It could come down to the weekly pivot at 198.41, then stabilize on top of 201.30, and then from there it should want to make a new higher high or new all-time high. Your 127.2 is 233 almost, and your 141, if it got really crazy, up here at 242. So look for, potentially a test back just a couple percent lower, and then after it breaks out, about 15 to 19% higher. And then I did do INDO. Excuse me. Wait, this is
It's
not the one I just did.
INOD.
INOD. Here we go. INOD. I did this. So again, sorry for these pivot points are really useful when you're looking at the short time interval. So, like for example, on the 8-hour chart, my moving average 75 here should be support right about 38.12. The weekly center pivot is 38.89, and we're just right about at that now. It doesn't have to test a lot lower in INOD. But at most maybe 37.53 would hold as support, but better the weekly about 38.89. This one is really great. So from the Fibon extension that wants to do, it already did a 764.382. So my next target is the 1382 here at $47.93. That's about 22% higher than where price is right now. And if it dropped back to my moving average 75, it's about 25% higher than right about 38.24. Anyway, this thing should want to test back to 42.73 at the 100% fib extension. And I expect it would top out at about $61.53. So it could go even higher as that would be getting above its 786 and then looks for new all-time highs after that. But probably for this 5 wave up, 61.53 is where I'd expect it to stop. So there you go. INOD.
Okay.
What else do we have?
I have some crypto here. So
Okay, you do
Ondo,
your crypto.
Yeah, I got some crypto and daily charts again are looking like telling a story here. So I'll be focusing on that for Ondo. We can see that it did break out above my blue arc and the 50-day and went up to the 100-day moving average, got rejected, and now it's actually going back completely for the back test of that breakout of the 50. So this really has a potential to start to hold right now, maybe 86.86048. Try to hold above that. If it can't hold above that, it might retest the arc below or the bottom of the cloud around 82. So I think that could be the range of support really for Ondo. But I think it just needs more time before it really starts to get into the like near the top of the cloud, and that's really around 94-95 cents. So once it breaks above the cloud, then I think it has room to go much higher. But right now I just say it's range bound between the cloud, like the 95 down to the 82, that zone, looking for some kind of direction. But it did already do a back test here, so it has potential to start bottoming out before making its journey higher. And with DAG here, there's really nothing to there's no update for DAG at all, to be honest. It's just one of those very, very, very boring coins right now because it can't get any momentum. It can't get above the 50-day moving average. It can't get above the cloud, can't get above the conversion baseline, or even this 236 fib here at 0.041. So it can't get above anything. We can go to the weekly chart, take a look at it too. And it's still in the weekly cloud. But if it can't break out soon, it's going to start to drop back underneath the cloud and maybe even head back down to the blue angle here towards the market symmetry around the 2.0277. So there's really no upward momentum for this coin at all. Once it got rejected by the 200-week moving average, it just went down to consolidate here, and it has potential to hold, but it needs to start breaking resistance soon, or I think it's at risk of retesting lower levels again. So let's watch this weekly candle close, try to break above this big mess right here. And if it can, then I think it can break out sooner. But if not, I think it will be struggling for some time.
I've got the trade desk. Only if you're done with crypto. I don't want to take you off.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Here's the trade desk. And this is interesting. I had earlier, I had this fib level from November 15th high to this is November 15th of 2022 to this low in 2023. It made a higher high and a higher low then, but because it was such a big move, I'm inclined to make this my new wave one, wave two. But before I delete this one, I just wanted to show you that according to the old fib extension, it got knocked all the way back, and now it's sort of struggling to get back over the 11.4 fib here, 5085, and I think it might want to test back to it. So your opportunity to buy one more time might be just below, just about 5085. But if you're already in it, there's no reason to sell and go back to that. Just hang on. I think it's going to do some really good things from here. So let's see. Let's get rid of this one. So now this is my one, and this is my two right there. If 42.96 is the bottom, which it looks like it might be, let's look for 382.236. Hang on a second. I got to fix this. Yeah, let's use this 2321, 236. I mean. All right, to the 1236, back to the 764, and then the one. So this could, you know, be making some major moves here. Um, so from where price is now, look for an improvement. Even if it didn't test back, like just from where it is right now to the 382 is 91.83. That's 70% higher. It's 35% higher just to get over the 236, which it has to get to the 382. Test back to the 236 and then to the wave three top. That's like 272% higher from where price is now. It's a great time to buy below the wave two support. So I think the risk reward looks really good for the trade desk. And your stop should be below 42.96, the last higher low.
All right, very
Palantir
good.
and-
Yeah, there's Palantir earnings today. I actually had Oxy on deck before we talk about
Okay, I'll show
Palantir.
you that one.
Yeah, so Oxy, I did talk about this in early April, saying, and I actually drew this path, and I didn't even change it, so it's has been kind of following this path so far. And I think what we're seeing is basically that price has potential to still continue going lower, right? And the reason why is it lost ARK support, it lost the blue level, it lost every single indicator support a while ago. And this bearish engulfing candle was kind of proof of that. So it could roll back up to the 42s, 43s, and that zone, maybe even 44. But I think it might be the target might be down here, like the 20s, maybe 27, 28, 29, this orange angle, because this was a big, if you look right here, it was a big resistance flip to support. So back testing that would kind of make sense. So Oxy, it's been following symmetry perfectly. I think on this one, we don't even need indicators because I think it just wants to follow the path of going down this arc, right? I think that's what it wants to do. And I cannot be bullish on this stock until it starts to break above this bottom blue arc right here. And when that happens, then perhaps there'll be a trend reversal. But until then, there's not. It's a downtrend, and I think it wants lower.
Very cool. Instead of doing Palantir, which I know you've got, I'm going to do PTIR. It's a 2x bullish ETF of Palantir because sometimes tracking these derivatives can be a little clearer. And what I've got for PTIR is after making this all-time high of 326.80, then dropping back to 77.17. It already crossed through the 236, and you can see it went above it and then tested back to it, and it kept running. It went past the 382, past the 50%, and now we're at a decision point. Is the 618 going to be its resistance, which could drop it back as low as, well, first 193, possibly as deep as 148, or it could continue running up to the 764 at 309.04. So I'm going to favor this right now. Let's say it runs up to 309.04, then it could drop back as deep as 193.10. But let's see if the 50% level holds it up because it already kind of tested back to it here once at 228.91. So yeah, that's what I would say. I would say if it drops below 228.91, then grab it at 193. If it makes it more than halfway to 309.04 from where it is right now, then look for 309.04 to be the top before pulling back. And this one just, if this does the 2382, then this goes to $800 a share, which is not expensive than Palantir is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the top of wave 3 is 89%. The top of wave 5 is 200% from where price is right now.
Yeah, and for me and Palantir, I just don't like things running up into earnings because then you're just chasing. So if you're not in it already, I would not be chasing here because it is basically all-time highs, right? It's at a double top. Technically, everything's a double top before it breaks out, right? So but that doesn't mean it couldn't go back and retest support below, maybe even like the 108, 104 zone before it wants to break out. So it is technically a double top right now, which everything is until they're not. But ultimately, I cannot be super bullish at a big resistance zone. And this was proven to be resistance last time I was here because it was a wick up and a big red bearish engulfing candle down. And then it went lower there. So resistance now until proven otherwise. So I'm always cautious here. I don't like things that run up into earnings unless I'm already in it, which I am. But I would not be buying or chasing up at these levels simply for the fact that it is resistance. So anything can go. But in reality, I don't think it matters in the long term because even if it does retest some lower levels like the 114, 108, 104, whatever it does, I still think 157 is going to be the next big resistance level. So for me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be riding through whatever happens and looking for the 150s in the future, 157.62.
All right. Very good, Matt. Thanks. Let's see. I've got
You got
HIMS.
AMD.
I could do AMD. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My AMD chart hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's great. It's progressing. It's this whole giant move that it had. I'm looking for 5 waves up here, and just to the 382 is still $142. And right now, what we've done is we've gotten above the 11.4% fib extension at 95.69. It could test back to it one more time. That's exactly where the top of this 8-hour cloud is. And then it's going to fight to get through the 236 at 116.76. It should be able to get through it and go on up to at least $142, and then maybe test back to 116.76. If it gets significantly higher than 142, then I'll start looking at these fibs above. But that's the first stop, 142 from here, and it does not have to go very much lower to find support from where it is right now. And then HIMS. I like HIMS. I did a big play on it has a 2x ETF called HIMZ, and I made a bunch of money on it last week. I could have made even more. But I kind of played it poorly. I made about 11%. If you got it from the bottom to the top, you could have made like 50% on Friday. From Thursday morning to Friday, it was crazy. But HIMS, the underlying stock, I'm looking for still the 382 at 45.27. It could pull back, maybe test down to, I don't know, I've got this feeling about 38.51 for some reason. Let me look at the 4-hour chart. Yeah, maybe it could test back as deep as 36.58, but it doesn't have to. I'm really looking for 45.27 next, with a test back to 36.58. And if it can get above 45.27, then I'll start looking at the fibs above it. But that's the next major resistance, 45.27 I'm watching for. You're the SoFi king. I should let you do SoFi.
Yeah, I can take a look at SoFi here. Let's go pull it up.
You and Kat have SoFi on lock.
All right, so SoFi, big rejection last week of the 1369 fib of the baseline up there around 1350s, and it came back down. So nothing really has changed week over week. After it broke out above major resistance, it's just range bound once again, but it's at a higher level. So this is a great breakout. Even if it does backtest the conversion line down below around maybe 1170s here, I think that's perfectly healthy, right? Perfectly healthy, because what I see on this chart is just range bound anyways until it can be either touch the cloud here, or if it wants to break above this 1369. And once it breaks above that, then I think it goes higher. So this is just doing something perfectly understandable, perfectly normal, right? Broke below major support, flipped it to resistance, and it's still resistance. So this is just a range bound between the 1170s and the 1360s. So I don't expect any change of that for the weeks to come until it's able to break out.
I remember from all our discussions in the triumvirate, SoFi, basically the magic number is 14, and anything below $14 is great because it's going to leave $14 behind in the long term.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, just looking at the comments. I've got SMCI here. SMCI already did a 382 back to the 11.4. This is a fib extension, by the way, from its all-time high to the 1725 low. It already did 382, lost the 236 back to 11.4. I'm guessing. Oh, let me see if there's any clues here from the. No, there are no clues here from the silver blocks. Looks like it's going to still struggle to get over 63.87 for a little bit, but once it does, I think it wants to go to 168.10 still. I ought to be able to do a smaller degree setup here. So I can do this really quickly. It's not gonna be exact. Then I can't read you when you're all extended like that. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's look for it to go to 44.93 next. It could pull back a little bit deeper. No, actually it doesn't have to. It's already tested back to 11.4. 31.76 should be as deep as it goes if it pulls back today. Then look for 44.93, 37.75, 86.90, 63.70, and then 136.05. Here, I'll try to pull these out a little bit. There you go. You can take a screenshot and look at these fibs, extensions on the right to get the prices for all these. And this is like a subwave setup going into what I'm looking forward to do over the long term. Here's Oxy.
Yeah. Yeah, I already did Oxy.
I don't know. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I already did it for a perpetual downtrend, really.
Oxy. Yeah.
I think
I don't
it's
know if
going
I
lower.
want it
Yeah.
much longer. Okay.
But if you want to finish up with Hood, you can. I think I got to run after that, anyways.
Got it. Hood on the 8-hour chart, still the same chart that I've had since it seemed to bottom at 28.79, April 4th. It's gotten to the 382, so let's see if it tests back to the 236 next. 42.97. So I was hoping for a 618 extension. Let's watch to the 42.97 next, and then on to, still 103.07 after that. Or prices now about 116% higher. If it does go back to 42.97, it would run about 141% higher to 103.07. That's just kind of rough. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, 9:07.
Yeah.
Let me just try.
Yeah, I got to run.
Yeah, I'll let you go. Let's see. Yeah, basically, we're just looking for some support tests. The market is getting back into greedy mode, bullish mode. So look for shallow support tests in some places, maybe deeper in others, but mostly we're just going to get higher lows from here and then on to higher highs.
Yeah, and I can't get to all those crypto requests. I see them right there. Sorry about that, but maybe we can tomorrow for the triumvirate if we do return, which I think we want to. If Cat can get his voice back, who knows? We'll see. But I am bullish on crypto, and I'm licking my chops at this pullback. And actually, I'm buying more AVAX as we speak. I saw somebody commented on AVAX, and I love it. Avalanche looks fantastic in this area here in the 19s, anywhere in the $19. I love it. But with that said, guys, I got to go. I got to do my little private live stream now. So you guys have a happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. And I'm bullish for the triumvirate. We'll see.
Very good. Me too.
Happen tomorrow night. All right. Bye, everybody.
I guess. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.